Hey, everybody, it's Jason with Kentucky Sustainable Living. I've got Shelly from Two Old Crows Homestead. I've got Jake from Dog Creek Farms, and we have the Bluegrass Trapper. Tonight, Bluegrass Trapper is going to be at the festival with us October 28th and 29th here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And we've got him tonight to talk about what he does, his trapping, everything like that. Enos, kind of give us a background here in just a second and let everybody else, Shelly, Jake, everybody say hi to everybody, and we'll get going.
Hey, everybody. This is actually our first, what we're going to call our Festival Friday. So we're glad to have you here. We're glad to have Enos here and for him to share with us what he does. Jake, take it away.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And I look forward to meeting him in person at the festival. I reached out to him. I watched his videos years ago, or probably over a year ago. He did some actually tanning videos too. So he does trapping, but he also has some tanning videos. So be sure to check his channel out. Any of that interests you, and make sure to come to the festival and meet him in person and learn some stuff.
All right, hey, what's up? I can't wait to meet all y'all either in person. I'm kind of honored that y'all asked me to do this, to come down there and do the demo and all that. And yeah, I've been trapping since I was a kid, and just enjoy it. And it's got to where now I do it. There's no money in it really, and I just do it to help out the other predators and farm animals. The other prey animals and farm animals and things like that. No.
So how does is this something that people like call you up and say, hey, I've got, coyote issues or predator issues. Can you come help me out? Is that kind of what this is?
Yeah, I get more and more of that the longer I do this. I actually had a guy call me about an hour ago, and there's a lady that's a little too far for me, but I'm going to try to hook him up with the Kentucky Trappers Association. And he had a lady that he knows a lady that has a sheep farm, and this is the guy called me. I trapped on him last winter because he had issues with coyotes. So, but anyway, he had this lady that has a sheep farm, and the coyotes have been getting into her sheep. And once they start and they get a taste of them, especially them little ones, and they'll just keep coming back. And she had a big issue with it. And he called me about it, wanting to know if I know somebody in the area. So a lot of times, if I can't do it, I'll look around, try to find somebody in her area, whatever area it is, help out. And then I just got done with a groundhog job down the road. Guy had groundhogs digging under his foundation in the barn.
Oh wow!
Mess too. So I just got done doing that. I caught 4 out of the barn. There's a video on YouTube of a couple of them, and things like that. I get calls about beavers sometimes. They dam up culverts and ponds and things like that. But it really helps, especially when you get into raccoons and stuff. It really helps turkey population. Around here, we have near the turkeys we used to have. And a lot of that's due to predators. Because especially the nest raiders, you would think the coyotes and the bobcats would be the worst. And they probably are as far as catching a grown turkey. But the raccoons, possums, skunks, things like that, they get into a nest, they'll just wipe out the whole nest. And there goes a whole generation of turkeys.
Wow.
So one of the things I thought might be unique is, there'll be a lot of homesteaders at this event. And I just thought the crossover to trapping, there's a lot of predator problems on the homestead. What's some of the, and obviously you're going to be doing the demo, but maybe like somebody that's starting out, I know like when it comes to raccoons, there's the dog-proof traps, which are extremely simple. But then when you get to the, a coyote trap, kind of what's what would you point somebody to for like a basic, just entry level getting started?
I like the footholds for coyotes. I use snare some, but I like the Duke 550 is a real good trap. It's built real good, but it's not real high. It's not too high. It's not a cheap trap by any means, but it's not. It's a real good built trap for a good price out there. And that's my go-to trap I use, and that's what I would recommend. And the footholds and dirt holes is a real simple way to catch them. Dirt hole sets, and I do some scent pull. There's a lot of different ways you can catch them, but as far as the simplest way to get started, I would say a dirt hole set was a Duke 550 or any trap. If you already got traps, don't go out and buy a bunch of new ones. You can use what you got, but just that sometimes people overthink it too, and they'll get real. You can get creative, but if sometimes you overthink it and mess it up. I like to keep it simple.
Yeah, that's exactly I agree 100%. So Duke I run the MB6 or 550s because Duke's trap wasn't out yet. But that's one thing about running that trap. It costs a little more, but there's no adjustments. I mean, you're going to take that out of the box and be able to trap. So
Yeah.
That's just one less thing a new person needs to learn.
Exactly.
And, when it comes to the dirt hole, I agree 100%. There's a lot of things you can do, but sometimes the most basic thing. And I mean, people want to know exactly where to place that trap next to the dirt hole. I mean, if you have a good bait and lure, I mean, you just have to get it there and it's going to do, the job.
Yeah, if you get it in a location where the coyote's going to smell it or see it, most times smell it, because they'll smell it before they see it. But you'll see them run, and I get sometimes new people in trapping, and they get frustrated because they'll come out and there'll be tracks just running right past their set or whatever, and that happens. That happens a lot. You have to just be patient, and I always try to play the wind a little bit, the prevailing wind. Of course, it can change, but like say I'm trapped inside a cow path or something like that. The wind's blowing whichever way it's going to blow that scent over wherever that coyote's going to be at. And they travel a lot of cow paths, things like that, and deer trails, and or a lot. It's something that gets overlooked a lot too. I think trapping, as far as in the homesteading community, sometimes maybe if you raise a bunch of chickens, you put a lot of work into it, or not. Chickens, goats, calves, whatever, and you don't want nothing to come and get it. And sometimes all you got to do is go out there and put a little effort in, trap, and catch those predators before they become a problem.
So we have one question, and this is something that comes up a lot. They're wanting to trap the raccoons and possums without catching the cats. I like to use a dog proof, and you just have to stay away from a fishy bait. If you use a fruit-based bait, you're not going to have your cats messing with it. What's your go-to, or what's your solution?
That's a real good way you're doing it, because that's exactly. I would recommend dog proofs if you're worried about catching anything but the coons. And you'll catch coons, occasional possums in them, sometimes skunk, whatever. Most time, if you stay away from a meaty or fishy bait, a lot of times you won't catch cats. If you're really worried about catching cats still, you can always use live traps. And live traps, which a dog proof is a live trap too. I don't want to make it sound like it's going to kill the coon. But cage traps, I should say. You can use cage traps, and if you do catch a cat, all you got to do is open the door and let him out. And which you can basically do the same thing with a dog proof. You can still release them.
Yeah, I think that's something people don't realize. I mean, that trap's not going to kill the animal.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to trap something that you're not going after. But I mean, I had a farmer that just wanted me to trap this creek because the coyotes were running right behind his house, and he had a dog, and I didn't want to trap there, and he talked me into trapping anyway. But I mean, you never want to catch something you're not going after, but it's not gonna hurt. I mean, it might hurt its foot, but I mean, if you're using, and that's the other thing, people think using like a smaller trap's better for the animals. I actually think you use the bigger trap, they're not going to fight it as much. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I agree. I like using that's one thing I like about the Dukes and the MB5, 650s or whatever. They have the wide cast jaws, and I pretty much stay away from anything that's not. You can also modify the other Dukes, and but if it's not laminated or the cast, I pretty much stay away from anything that's not laminated or cast jaws, unless you're trapping for beaver and you got a drowning rod, which they're not going to fight the trap long anyway. But I try to do it as humane as possible, and as efficient as I can. And you have to, in the state of Kentucky, you got to check them every 24 hours anyway. And even if we didn't have to, I would say that's a good practice. Check them every day, because you don't want something out there just hanging out for days or getting hungry or whatever. And I've released a lot of stuff. Like I caught 2 dogs this past trapping season. That was for a farmer I was trapping coyotes for, and a couple border collies. And the one's an old dog. She's getting on up there in age. And I got out and she was laying there asleep. And I had to wake her up, and I got her out of the trap. And she followed me around, and of course I massaged her foot a little bit, but I had her in a 550 with the wide cast jaws, and didn't bring any blood. It didn't even puncture the skin. It's just a little flattened where she's been laying there. Her foot's probably asleep. I massaged her foot a little bit, and she followed me around and checked most of the traps before she decided to go home. And I got done calling and was like, "Hey, I caught your dog," and he was like, "Well, she'll learn." And a couple of days later, no limp, and you couldn't even tell she'd ever been caught.
So that was the rest of the story to my exact experience with the farmer I trapped with.
Yeah.
The same exact thing. And I wanted to pull my traps, and he's like, "No, how are you going to get the coyotes if you pull your traps?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question. If you use live traps to trap something like like a raccoon or whatever, and if you don't want to kill them, if you want to just relocate them, how far do you have to take them out to keep them from coming back to your place? Like, will they find their way back pretty quickly? Are they good at that? I mean, raccoons can do just about everything, but
directions. In my experience, I know we used to train coon dogs our own, and we would sometimes catch them in a cage trap and take the coon home. We might catch them a mile away, and I have seen we've released that coon, and the dogs, instead of him going up a tree, had a head start, and they tracked him all the way back to where we caught him, about a mile.
wow.
But I would always take them. I always like taking them 4 or 5 miles away, and I don't know if they eventually make their way back, but as far as I know, they hadn't.
Yeah, and you actually have to check your different states are different, but I mean, you're actually not supposed to relocate a lot of them, when you trap them. That's, I think, how Indiana is anyway.
So does that mean that they want you to dispatch them instead of relocating them?
I think it has to do with, disease, or like if that, so if you're just trapping something, and then not that that's why you trapped it, but by relocating it, you're.
Well, and I mean, I guess if you're dumping animals that you trap in another area or whatever, you're going to mess up the balance in that area as well. There's going to be issues. I mean, I see that, I guess.
Yeah, I would take them. I always try to, if I do relocate something, I always try to take it to a spot that's either like a wildlife reserve, like a wildlife management, or like a sanctuary, not a sanctuary, but somewhere where people are not going to be hunting anyway.
Right.
And that way, if they kill a few turkeys or whatever, it's not going to, the hunters are not going to be mad about it.
I know, like we had we live on a creek and next to the interstate, we live on an access road. So, I mean, with the creek and then the interstate, it's like a highway in our backyard. And, we had problems with our chicken coop. And I mean, we just in like a 3-week period, I think we had 17 between coons and possums.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had a buddy who's like, you're going to relocate that? Yeah, no, I'm not relocating. Basically, that would just be sending my problem to somebody else. So
Yeah,
when
true.
my problems don't leave here.
Yeah, the only way, and that's what, if I take them somewhere, I like taking somewhere where there's nobody farming that land or there's no houses close by. There's some spots around here where there's really nothing except, wilderness. There's a big wildlife management area, and there's really nothing there, which you can hunt that one, the one that's not far from here. But then you go out the other way, you got the state park, which is huge.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
one thing we were kind of talking about earlier, which, once you trap the animal that might interest people is, you have some tanning videos and different things, but the reality is, it's really not like trap, like you don't get paid to deer hunt either, but I mean, we trap just because it's something you enjoy.
Yeah.
But one thing you can do is, if you learn to tan the hides and make stuff, that's something you can market. I feel like there's a market for that.
Yeah. There's a market a lot more for tan stuff. Like my bobcats, I could have sold them for like $60 a piece, which is not bad for a Kentucky cat. But I didn't do it. I took them and I'm getting them all tan. I didn't do it myself this time. I want to do some more tanning. I've done some of my own. I should have brought a hat out here that I made. I might one of my kids come out here. I might have them bring it to me. But I had some hats made out of furs that I tanned myself. But you can make stuff out of them. Like, learning how to trap can be a great survival tool, too. If I was out, if I had a way to catch stuff, you can eat just about anything. I would eat raccoons, possums if I had to. Don't plan on eating a possum, but I would eat them if I had to. Learn how to catch them, that's a plus to me.
I've always thought it's kind of an overlooked thing. I mean, Jason, you're kind of the longest, most experienced, into the prepping stuff. And I mean, if things go back, like if everybody thinks it's going to go back to a time where old stuff, what used to be valuable is valuable again. I mean, fur was a very valuable commodity.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, I know very little about trapping. I've got some live traps, and if something's coming up and killing chickens, we've had it before. I'll set the traps out, and I've caught all kinds of stuff that way. And I dispatch them, and do it that way. I don't relocate anything. The worst thing I ever caught was a stinking skunk, and that was a nightmare. So the clothes I had on, it was nasty. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a useful skill for sure, and I agree. It's something that's often overlooked. Everybody's like, oh, well, I've got my 22 or I've got my pellet rifle and I can buy 1 million rounds of pellets for that and this and that. And it's like the big thing about trapping is you don't have to be doing it. You can set it and then you can go do other stuff. Set it and then go tend your garden. Set it and go do something else, and you can catch food that way. So that's where I see it. I would like to learn more about it. It's just too many irons in the fire right now.
Yeah, I definitely think, I mean, you can let the trap do the hunting for you. Just set it at a good location and set it and forget it, or set it and go check it. It'll get your food for you.
So how do you know what's a good location?
By signs, tracks, trails. Depends on what you're trying to catch, but a lot of times you can find raccoons around water, creeks, or the other day I opened the door and there's one in the freaking garage. But you find raccoons. As far as coyotes, they're everywhere, but you have to, for me, I catch a lot of them in cow pastures because around here there's a lot of cattle farmers. So they travel the cow path, they travel deer trails, lanes, like roads and things like that, dirt roads.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love intersections. I mean, when you have an intersection of a couple dirt roads or a couple cow, and I always like, I like corners, like, something where there's a visual appeal. Like, a lot of times I don't know what it is, but it seems like when they travel, they're traveling to something.
Yeah, yeah. I was going. Yeah, a lot of times cows they're going somewhere. A bobcat is a little different. A bobcat is, I guess that's why they say curiosity kills the cat. But cat, they'll be going this way, and then they'll be going that way and that way, and they'll sometimes turn completely around, run back, backtrack 100 yards, and then turn around and come. They're more visual hunters, and a lot of times when they're hunting, they might be going in a general direction, but if they see something catches their eye, they go check it out. They're not usually a coyote. He's going from point A to point B, and he might be hunting along the way, but he's going somewhere.
We still don't have a bobcat season in Indiana, but we have bobcats everywhere. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know how we don't have one yet.
I watch Coffee outdoors, and sometimes he catches one, has to release it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you start seeing a bobcat here and there, you got a lot more of them than what you're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, we had them walking right down our driveway. Before we got good internet and I could put cameras up, I had a trail cam on the driveway just so I could know. And I mean, I would get regular pictures of, bobcats walking right down our driveway. So
here it's kind of hit or miss. Like I'll have trap a farm and catch one, and I'll think, oh, good, there's bobcats here, and I'll set a couple bobcat sets and never catch another one there all season. And then some other farms, there's one farm down the road, I just kept catching them on. And I don't know, it's kind of weird. I guess they travel, I think they hang around towards where the food is naturally, but where there's a lot of rabbits and birds, they eat a lot of birds.
Enos, I got a question. Since you're in the county that I hunt in, have you seen the big panther or the big panther cat that everybody says is out there?
I haven't seen it, no.
All right.
But
because some of the guys I've seen have got pictures of it on trail cams, and they're like, it's a panther. And I'm like, I don't know about this. But a couple of times I've heard something. It sounds like a woman screaming. And I have heard it twice while I've been deer hunting, and that made the hair on my neck stand up. And I'm like, this is the freakiest thing I've ever heard out in the woods.
Yeah, it might be a big cat or a mountain lion or a panther or something.
It's probably chupacabra.
Yeah,
Probably.
they're supposed to. I read somewhere where somebody saw a mountain lion. Ambulance going by. Anyway, hope everything's okay. But I saw a mountain lion, or somebody saw a mountain lion, they said, on Mammoth Cave National Park.
Really?
And which wouldn't surprise me. That's a huge park, and it's just wilder and all get out. But the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife, they would say, no, there's none here. And there's proof of bears in Cave City.
There's been bears here in Metcalfe County, Barron County, Monroe County. I mean, there's people I know that have seen them in their yard and everything.
Do you use snares much?
I don't use them a lot, but I do keep some around. I do use them in certain scenarios. I like scenarios. We're allowed to do that in the state of Kentucky. Some states you can't have entanglement. You can't use snares. It's actually cable restraints, they call them. And a lot of times I use cable restraints. I call them snares, but they're actually cable restraints, and it's just a difference in the locking system. But I'll put one, like if there's a good crossing in the fence where the coyotes are going through a hole, and to me that's the easiest way but you want to be sure there's no dogs or domestic animals going through. Sometimes you can catch dogs in snares, and they'll be fine because it gets tight on them and they stop fighting it. But if they fight or get entangled, like in a fence row or something, it'll choke them out.
Well, I will tell you, if I ever see a mountain lion, a panther, or anything like that, when I'm out hunting, I'm killing it. I don't care if it's legal or not. It's going in the back of the truck, and I'm bringing it home.
Yeah. Well, they say we don't have them, so I don't know how much they could say about it.
Yeah. We'll do a butchering class on mountain lions.
Oh, you will, yeah.
Yeah.
You think Billy'd come out here for that one?
We might sell it to. Well, I'm not going to say. But I will have a mountain. I'll have a mount of it too if we do it.
Yep.
I will say, if you hear a bobcat scream, Jason, it could definitely be a big bobcat. I mean,
yeah, I was going to say the bobcat, they can make your hair stand up. Sure. They can sound like a woman screaming or somebody.
It's the craziest thing. It's crazy.
Apparently, Mike is eating mountain lion.
Oh, no way.
I thought people do eat mountain lion.
He said that.
Oh, my God.
Tastes like chicken.
Now,
Is that like Kung Pao mountain lion?
do what?
Kung Pao mountain lion?
Yeah.
Honestly, though, it doesn't surprise me that Mike is eating that because he can hunt anything. I mean, he's like, that's his skill set.
Yeah. Bobcat actually tastes pretty good. I either use them for bait or I like them, some of them.
What about coyote? Have you ever eaten coyote?
I haven't. I've seen people do it on YouTube.
I've seen that too.
And the smell of them, I think I'd have to kind of be in a survival situation for me.
You and me both.
Yeah.
They smell bad if you ever been up real close to one. And some of them don't. Some of them don't smell bad, but others they smell worse than a skunk to me. It's out strong, but it's a different smell.
It's bad.
Yeah.
See, Shelly's got a mountain lion in her lap.
Yep.
And if my camera jumps around, it's because there's a cat keeps coming and bumping into the tripod.
Enos, did you tell your people that you're live right now?
No, I need to. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can. Should have air option on here.
Mike, how do you get invited to a wild game dinner?
I've heard about wild game dinners. I've never been to one.
I think that you should host one for KSL, dude.
Hey, I figure out how I can. Can y'all still see me?
Yeah, we can still see you.
Yeah.
I'm pushing buttons, but
push buttons till it works. It ain't gonna hurt nothing.
So while he's doing that, I'll give my trapping story of how I got started because it's pretty fun. So I went to garage sales with my grandma because she was an antiquer. So I bought my first traps at a garage sale for $2. Went out, set traps in the woods, never been around anybody who had hunted or trapped in my life. And I set these traps and I didn't fasten them to anything. I didn't do anything. I didn't have a trapping license, nothing.
You have to have a license to do this?
Yes, you do. Wow. It would be different on your homestead because,
hey, if I all of a sudden leave, it's because I hit the wrong button.
Okay.
I'm trying not to.
Keep going, Jake.
So that's one of the reasons why I think it's fun talking to people and, getting kids started. It's just now, like with YouTube, you can watch anything. But back then, and it used to be actually something people made money off of. So nobody really wanted to tell you anything.
Right.
So I think that's, and at least when I was a kid, you wanted to be Daniel Boone. I don't know about these days, but getting out in the wilderness, So
Yeah.
I just think it's a cool thing for kids. I mean, for anybody, but I just think it's a cool thing for kids to get started in.
Probably the funniest thing with trapping that I've been involved. My dad called me several years ago, and he was like, "Hey, do you still got those live traps?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "These rabbits are eating my garden up." He's like, "I need to catch some of them." So I'm like, "All right." So I brought him like 3 or 4 live traps. And a few days later, I rolled in, and my wife came out, and she goes, "Your dad just came up here a little while ago, had a bunch of rabbits and traps." And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "He said he was relocating them to your house." So he was bringing all the rabbits he caught at his house over to my house and letting them go to eat everything at my house. I'm like, "Thanks a lot, Dad."
Well, I can tell you another thing that screams really loud is rabbits.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. When we first
Domestic
built our
or
rabbit
wild?
tractor, and like with the first time I moved it, and their little paws got trapped underneath the thing, like it didn't occur to me that that was going to happen. Oh my God. It sounded like I was killing all of them. I'm like standing out there holding the rabbit tractor up, screaming for Crystal to come downstairs at like 4 a.m. It was crazy.
Okay, am I still here?
You're still here.
We
All
got you.
right, because I went through some stuff here.
So
Oh, it's
yeah,
all good.
I think I told Shelly about I was processing some rabbits, and there's different ways you can dispatch them, and one of mine came back to life when I was
Oh my
getting ready
God,
to
yeah.
finish the job.
I remember you telling me that. Ugh.
It was screaming bloody murder and made me cut my finger. So
It's exacting its revenge.
Oh, yeah.
I
Wasn't going down without a fight.
used to raise rabbits when I was about. I
Just tell us a couple good trapping stories.
trying to think of the best one. Well,
Tell us the second best one then.
I love being out, just being out there, because you never know what you might run into, or going out checking traps every morning, and I had last year. I went to I caught a bobcat, and I was over my limit, and it's not the one on YouTube. I put one on YouTube I released. This was before then. I got back there, way on back in the holler. And I didn't bring my catch pole. Didn't have no way to release it, so I decided to try to release it by throwing my jacket over it, which I've done that before. And this thing, just as I was getting the trap off, jumped up and scratched, just nicked my hat. And I had the camera recording the whole time, and I thought, man, that's going to be a great video because it's going to be intense. And then I lost all the footage of it. That's not much story, but that stuff. It was I had great footage, and I lost it.
Being famous went right by then after you lost it, right?
Yeah, sometimes, or you'll be recording and think you're recording, and then after you get back, you want to re-watch it and realize you wasn't recording. But I guess the way I started trapping, my dad always talked about trapping. My dad and my oldest brother, which my oldest brother Levi's, and they used to do some trapping up in upstate New York, and they used to do some coon hunting too, and they used to sell hides for coon hides up to $40 a piece back then. And so that's kind of what got me into trapping, and I just started trapping. And I remember the first coon I skinned out, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And my dad was like, "What's that?" And I said, "I'm trying to put this fur up," because he's talking about how they're worth money and all that. But from then on, but hearing his stories and stuff is what really got me into trapping. And they had some good stories. I mean, Levi, my oldest brother, he caught coyote and it got loose on him, about got him, and things like that. I'm trying to think of a good one for. Nothing really happens too much on my line.
Yeah, you must have a good line. I mean, I just feel like every time you're out there, something happens. You pull like I pulled up on had a big boar coon and a dog proof, and when mentally you think you know where because it's a dog proof with a disposable stake, and you think you know where your stake is, and I pull up there on the 4-wheeler thinking it was, I knew where it was, and I was wrong, and next thing I know, the coon's chasing me. I'm trying not to shoot myself and trying not to get bit by the coon. That's crazy.
I did get bit by a red fox. And it was in the summertime. They had red fox in their backyard, and they didn't want them there, and they asked if I could catch them. I said, "Yeah, I'll catch them." That was actually in Bowling Green, in the city limits. So it was last summer, I think. And I went down there, and on the first day, I caught one of the pups. He wasn't full grown. He was about full grown. I didn't have my pulled in either. I try to keep it in the back of the truck, but I keep forgetting it whenever I need it. And so I thought, well, I'll grab him behind the neck, just ease down there. I took a stick, kind of try to keep his teeth away from me at least, and grabbed him. But I guess right when I grabbed, he jumped, and I grabbed a little to the side, and he reached out and bit me pretty good. He actually got me, but I let go because I figured if I let go, he's gonna eat me up big time. Because where I had him, he was biting me, and he already had his teeth sunk in. And I thought, well, I'm just gonna leave it like that. So I released him real quick and put him over. I was relocating that one, so I put him in a cage, and I went and got shots, and that was the worst part of it, getting the shots.
How good.
The rabies shot. It's not just one shot. It's like a whole series of shots.
I've seen a lot of people grab those red fox because they used to trap a lot for the live market, which that's all changed now. But, I've watched some videos of guys that, they would trap those dens out west, and they would trap them in, 1.5, the soft catch or whatever they're called. And they just reach down there and grab them by the scruff of the neck, put them in a cage. That blew my mind. I mean, I can't imagine.
You can do that with a coyote too. I haven't quite got the nerve yet to do it, but I've seen people do it. If you grab them real tight, and some of them, I get some coyotes that are timid and shy, and they'll just lay down, and they're real shy, and you could probably do it to them better. But I've caught other ones but usually if you catch a big male that's more dominant, and I've got some of them that they just won't back down. I wouldn't even have a chance to get a hold of them really without getting bit. What are you doing?
So do you sell skins or hides or whatever? Do you tan them and sell them?
If I sell them, I'll sell them tanned. Last year I took a few dried hides to the market. They didn't do well at all. So the best way I've figured out is to tan or get them tanned, and you can usually move them that way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there will be a market for it at the festival, but you're welcome to come and try to sell some there. I mean, you'll have a bunch of homesteaders there. Yeah,
they're real neat to make stuff out of. Especially, I like the bobcats because they got real soft fur. And I got, I think, about 8 or 9 hides at a tannery now. If I get them back before then, I might bring a couple, and mainly just to show people. I might even give one away or something.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I might. Yeah.
Is there a local tannery anywhere around here, or do you have to ship them off?
There's a couple of people around here that tan. There's a Mennonite not far from me that started tanning a few. And he don't have like a tannery. He does it by hand, like I've done it whenever I tanned them. But it does take some practice to get it right.
Yeah, I struggled when I've done them by like myself because I had an uncle that was in taxidermy, so I've been around it a little bit. It's hard to get that finish they get, that soft finish doing it yourself was the struggle I've always had.
Yeah, it is. I used to wire brush some, but you got to be careful. I like to use one that's not too stiff, or you'll cut holes in them. But and then a piece of rebar. But if I next time I do it, one thing I screwed up on the last time is I didn't get them out of the water quick enough. I don't think, and I had a few of them that slipped a little bit later on. Most of them didn't. But if you work that hard after you put the tannin solution on, and as quick as it starts to dry, and if you take and pull it and stretch it, you'll see the white lines and stuff appear in it. I think that helps a lot. And then I took a piece of rebar and just worked the tar out of them. But it's hard work.
Yeah. So one thing, like there's been some people talk about the fur industry, and it's a really odd industry. And honestly, all the low end, like your raccoons and stuff, at least used to go to Russia, and then most of the fur gets finished in China. And the high end market actually was mostly in China. So with everything going on in the world today, that market's probably, I mean, who knows when that's coming back.
I know.
I think, yeah, if you really want to do something, I think the finding the tannery and, doing something yourself is really the only way you're gonna.
There's some.
I think there's one down in Franklin, a tannery down there.
In Franklin, Kentucky?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think there is because I remember driving by it one time and it smelled horrible.
Yeah.
I had the windows down and it was nasty smelling.
That might be a cowhide one. There's more cowhide ones. There's one in Indiana that does like cowhides, but not. They don't do hair-on hides in small batches. So most of the tanning went to China because it's bad for the environment, and that you can do bad stuff in other countries and it doesn't affect us. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember bobcats just a couple, 3-4 years ago, just skyrocketed. Clint Locklear, he's a professional trapper. He went to Texas and just caught a bunch of cats. I can't remember how many he caught, but some of his cats are bringing 600 to all the way up to 1,500 on some of the best ones.
I got to go to Bob Went from Indiana. I forget where he's from, but he's from Indiana. I was going there to pick up some badgers, and they came from out west, and they had somebody flew in on their private jet to buy they would go out west and trap the bobcats, and they were $800, $1,500.
Yeah, man, that would be nice.
Crazy.
If furs were worth more people would have stayed in it as far as trapping goes. A lot of people got out of it because of the fur market really doesn't have, it would be nice to get something out of them, but it's never going to have an effect on whether I trap or not. I think it's important for the ecosystem, for the all the prey animals. And a lot of that stuff has gotten overpopulated, and a lot of that's due to trapping. There's no trappers around. And then, you can go coyote hunting is getting bigger now because of all the technology and the calls and stuff. They've got some real good calls out there. At least around my area, there's more and more people popping up that are coyote hunting. And that's great. But as far as trapping is still the best way that I have found as far as getting them by numbers.
Right.
Because on one farm I caught 20 coyotes year before last, I think. I caught 20 on one farm. And if I'd have been hunting that, 3 or 4 sets, probably all I'd have got out of that. They get smart real quick to calling.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a question about tanning the rabbit skins, and I think what I ran into is usually you process the rabbits so young that the skin is really hard to tan because it's so thin. I think you have to let them grow out a little longer, and they'll have a thicker hide, and then you would be able to tan them. Have you tanned any rabbit hides?
I haven't, but I know rabbits are real tender though, and it would probably be hard. I'd say the easiest thing to start out with would be a possum. A bobcat's pretty easy too. They're way easier than a coyote. Bobcats actually got real thin skin compared to coyotes. But speaking of that, the price of bobcats out west a few years ago, they got a lot better cats out there than what we do here.
Right.
So our cats, even then, wouldn't have been worth that much, maybe $100 or something. Which I was surprised I had an offer for $60 a piece for mine last year. I mean, this past season. But I took them all, and I'm getting them tan. There's a place called Rising Star Forge Works, and it's up around Beaumont, Kentucky, like going towards Birchville. I don't know if any of y'all familiar with where that's at. Hey, Calvin. Hey, Rabbit, Tanny's and Impossible Rock. Yeah. I'm just seeing some of the comments. I don't know if I'm not seeing them all. Every once in a while I see them pop up. But anyway, Rising Star, they have some people tanning full time for them, and they're wanting me to. They said somebody's selling a bunch of tanning equipment, and they said they wish somebody would put in a full blown tannery, because they buy, I forget, I think last season they bought about 3,000 furs, and what they do is make stuff out of them. They make hats, coats, all kinds of stuff, and that's
So what makes tanning bad for the environment?
probably the chemicals in the tanning.
Chemicals in the tanning.
So you're talking about, like, I've always heard that an animal, like, its brain. So
That's what I
I'm
was getting
talking
ready
about,
to
like,
say.
brain
So
tanning.
commercial tanning, they're not using a brain. So there's brain tanning, which is the old school method, and yeah, I've
And
never.
that's not chemicals, right? That's just
Right.
using what you have to do it.
Right.
Okay.
But the commercial tanneries.
Do what, Enos?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut nobody off.
No, you're fine. What were you saying?
If you was like out and say living off the land, learning how to tan with brains would probably be your best option anyway, because if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you kill something and you want to make something out of the fur for warmth or whatever, leather, you're not going to have tanning solution out there anyway. So learning how to brain tan would be great.
I think you brain tan them and then smoke them or something. I've looked into it, but
I haven't myself, but I want to learn how to do that.
Hey, Enos, the guys that you're trapping on their farms, and they call you and they're like, "Hey, we've got a problem." Do they wind up paying you for that, or do you just do it because you love doing it?
Most 90%, I'll do it because I love doing it. I've thought about getting into actually starting a business, doing nuisance trapping, and I might eventually go that route. But a lot of times, the farmers around here, I get permission to trap on their property. Well, they'll call me because they got a problem or whatever, and most of the time I don't even charge nothing. I just do it because I enjoy doing it.
Okay.
And then sometimes that leads into permission for deer hunting or turkey hunting or something like that too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've run into that too, where somebody's told me before, they're like, a cattle farmer's like, "Oh, you got problems with coyotes, so we'll go kill a bunch of coyotes," and then turkey season rolls around, and we're like, "Hey, can we go turkey hunting?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, sure." So
yeah.
It's funny how that works sometimes for you.
Yeah. It's opened a lot of doors for me to get on properties, and I enjoy trapping, and which helping them out, and then most time they'll return the favor.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, let's shift a little gears. Tell us what people can expect when they come to the festival for what you're going to be doing at the festival. Tell everybody what they can expect from you at the festival.
Well,
And if you don't know, just make it up.
I was.
It's so far off, it'll be okay.
What they want to hear. If there's a lot of people there that's completely new to trapping and they want to learn, I was going to try to kind of do it quick, but also entry level, kind of show them what kind of trap that they need if they don't know what kind of trap, and then all the way up to catching. I was thinking coyotes mostly, but if people want to know how to catch other stuff, we might work that in too. But all like from the beginner, I figure there's probably going to be a lot of people there that not been around trapping maybe, and they want to know and start how to catch the coyote that's getting into the chicken coop or the hog pen or the sheep pen or whatever. And I was wanting to show them what traps I use and what seems to work for me, what kind of set to make as far as dirt holes, and keep it simple but educational at the same time. And if a bunch of people are standing around and they are all familiar with trapping, we could go into something a little more advanced. But I was thinking just get people started. Show them what I can to help them get started and catch that nuisance coyote or fox or bobcat, coon, whatever's getting into their chicken.
Yeah, I would be on the complete beginner side of that. I have no idea even where you would begin.
It's a great tool. I always go back to that, but it's a great tool if you're ever in a survival situation. And
Yeah.
if I was out, I would go. If I was out and if I had a cable, a snare, or a foothold trap, I always feel like as long as there's animals around, I could find something to eat. I would depend on a trap more than I would a gun as far as getting food.
Well, a trap's going to be quieter, right?
Right.
Draw attention to yourself.
Yeah. You got that. You also got where you can set it and go do something else.
All right, Leather Homestead, if you have chickens, you will need to trap someday. That is for sure.
I was just thinking about that because, like, we've been on our farm 2 years now, and I mean, we've got chickens running around everywhere, and the only thing animal that we've had problems with was a snake that got into our hen house and was eating eggs, and we actually I can't remember if Randy got it or if he just ran away. I don't remember, but he's gone. He's not come back. He was there for a few days, but we've not had any issues, knock on wood, with raccoons or possums or anything like that. I mean, we have deer that runs around here, but I rarely see anything out in this area. Turkey, that's about it.
Yeah. That's good. If coons ever find your chickens or get started on them, sometimes you'll realize there's one a day. Every morning you'll get up and there's one less. And sometimes you can find feathers around there. Sometimes they'll pack them off. A fox, a lot of times, real sneaky, and they'll grab one and run, and you might not even find feathers, depending on how they caught it. But no, that's good if you don't have the problem. But if you ever do, like raccoons, dog-proof traps, cage traps, it's simple, easy, and it'll take care of it.
The worst problem we've had are stinking hawks getting the chickens.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. they got sent an eviction notice. So.
Yeah. You're not allowed to trap them, but you can catch them. I mean, you can't catch them by law, but there's ways to catch them.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, I tell you, my neighbor caught a hawk in a live trap on the ground.
Dang.
First thing I ever seen. He called me and he was like, "What do I need to do with this thing?" I was like, "I don't know." I said, "That's your baby, not mine." So he ended up taking it down to the next city over and letting it out. I was like, "Good luck with that."
Yeah. hawks, man, I imagine they could find their way back from a long way.
Oh yeah. So, well,
They can.
they say if you keep a few black chickens with your a few black chickens with the rest of your chickens, the hawks will think they're crows, and the crows will run the hawks off.
Huh.
We have hawks that fly around a lot. I mean, we see them, I don't know, at least 5 days a week probably. But we've got black chickens and we've got guineas. And I mean, our guineas are a big alarm system and they pretty much don't, the hawks, we haven't had any issue with them. Again, knock on wood, hope we don't, but that's really the only predator I ever see around.
Well, yeah, we've also had owls get into chickens at nighttime if they're where they can get to them. Cameron, my son's out here, that's why I keep looking over there. He said, "There's a cat over there." There's a cat over there. One of the neighbor's cats, I think. It's got like a flea collar on it or something other. But he was looking at it. I told him to sit over here beside me. He's like, "I don't want to."
I'm surprised we haven't seen Lincoln yet.
Oh, my brother texted me and my brother showed up. So him and my brother are upstairs. So
Gotcha.
I'm surprised I can't hear them. They must be up to something. So
Get quiet, watch out, huh?
oh yeah. They might be watching TV, who knows with those two. So but
I want to get more things here as far as animals and stuff, and get back into that. I kind of got out of that. We lived in town for a while, well, about 8 years, and just moved back out here last year. And so I want to build up. I want to get some goats and more. We actually had chickens in town, but I didn't have a pen ready, so I actually gave them to somebody that lives just down the road here. But I want to build me a big chicken pen and start all that back up.
oh yeah. Get you some sheep too.
Yeah, I could actually use sheep wool too. I use it all the time trapping.
We've got sheep, and I like raising sheep. I like them way better than goats for sure.
Well, sheep eat more grass too, don't they?
My sheep will browse and eat anything. So I've got them right now in a grown up section that's nothing has been done to it for 40 years, and they're eating multiflora rows. They're eating brush and everything else, and that's the thing. People are like, "Oh, I got to get goats to clear my land out." Stinking, you get the right sheep, and they'll clear it out just as good as goats will.
Yeah. What
And
kind
they don't try to escape like goats will either.
Yeah,
of sheep would you recommend?
these are Katahdin. They're hair sheep.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So and they flat bust through the briars and the brambles and everything else, and they will flat and mow down like the multiflora rose, that wild rose we've got.
Yeah.
They will eat every stinking leaf off that rose bush, and it's dead after that.
Man, it
So,
must have tough tongues.
oh, they will tear it up. They'll browse on trees. They'll eat vines. They'll eat all the leaves off the vines and everything else. It's amazing what they will do.
Yeah.
So I mean, Shelly, you've seen it. You saw what the pasture area looks like. That
Yep.
my whole place looked like just grown up brambles and briars. And I
Yep.
brought the sheep in, and they've cleared all that stuff out for me.
How many people we got in the chat?
8 total right now is what it looks like.
I don't know. Out here lately. I done tapped something again. Oh, there he goes. Here lately, it seems like my stuff is not getting views. I don't know if YouTube. I think a lot of my people are not getting my notifications. I went back when I was pushing buttons and shared it out, and I don't know. I know one person that watches my videos. He might watch yours too. Kevin, I seen him in here earlier, but I think I went through a month where my stuff just done horrible, and then I had a good month, and then this month it seems like The only thing that's really getting anything is shorts, and they're not getting as many views. So I don't know if YouTube doing something or what, but
There are several channels that I subscribe to that I don't get notifications for them. I have to go search them out.
yeah.
Putting out videos regularly.
Oh,
Miss Sharon made a comment. She said that she had 3 chickens last year, and either a possum or a raccoon got all of them in one night. She said it only ate the back end of them out. Oh my gosh, that's awful.
Sometimes I think, well, no, it might be the front end. Sometimes a weasel, I think, will go in the throat, or is it mink? I can't remember which one.
I've heard mink it's just like a bloodbath. I thought they eat the heads off or something.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And they kill them all. However many you have is how many will be dead.
yep, exactly.
We had an owl getting into ours one time. We always had locked them up at night. We shut the door on the chicken house. In the daytime, we'd let them out. But there was a little hole where they could get out by themselves in the morning into the little pen that we had. And we'd open the door from there if we wanted them to get on out. But something was getting a chicken inside the chicken house. And it was almost every night one would disappear. And so I set a foothold right in that door, right in that little hole. And I was expecting a coon or a possum or something next morning, or maybe a fox. Got out there and had a big old hoot owl in it.
Wow.
Had him caught by the front. Well, he only got 2 feet. Had him caught in there. He just sitting there looking at me.
Goodness.
But he knew they was in there. Most time, if they're roosting inside, an owl won't bother them. But this dude knew they was in there.
Wow.
I'm
Go ahead.
I'm thinking he must have been watching right before dark when they went in there or something, because he couldn't have flew by and saw them in there. So, I don't know.
We've been at it almost right at an hour. Shelly, you want to tell everybody some stuff about the festival and what we've got going?
Sure. I want to see if I can share my screen.
Here, let me.
Can you see that?
There, now we can see it.
All right. So this is our website, KentuckySustainableLiving.com. Our festival is October 28th and 29th at the WKU Brown Ag Expo Center in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Admission to the festival is free. I want to show you here. I'll come back up to those pictures there in a minute, but I want to show you. You can see who all the speakers are going to be. We're going to have Eric Johnson from Porterhouse and Teal. He's going to be talking about, he's actually going to be teaching a guild class that is one of our pay classes, but he's also going to be sharing, I think, maybe about composting. Don't quote me on that. It may be something different, but whatever he's going to teach on, it's going to be good. He's a super smart guy. And then we've got Greg Brand, who's going to be doing pasture management. Jake Drum is going to come and talk about emergency. He's got Drum Emergency Solutions, and his topic is going to be presenting the medicine easy until it isn't session. We've got Chuck Peoples, who is actually teaching the other 2 pay classes that we're having. He's going to do homestead medicine and stop the bleed. Now, the homestead medicine class is a day-long class. It's on Friday. And just like Eric Johnson, he's going to be teaching a guild class that's on Friday. And then Chuck is also going to teach a half-day Stop the Bleed class on Sunday. Those are classes that you have to pay for. But I'm going to tell you right now, the homestead medicine class is absolutely amazing. Like, he's going to teach you how to assess somebody. He's going to teach you how to care for them, like long-term care, or even short-term care. He's going to show you the tools that you need to have on your homestead. He's going to address all kinds of common injuries that happen on the homestead. He's even going to teach you how to suture an injury or whatever. In the Stop the Bleed class, you're going to leave that class with a tourniquet. He's going to teach you everything that you need to do when you have some kind of large injury like that and the tools that you need to do that. Let's see who else. We've got Emily Rock. She's going to be demonstrating, or she's going to do a milking demonstration, but she's also going to do a session talking to you about how to choose the right dairy cow for your homestead. Bruce DeVries, y'all, if you've never met Bruce, you totally need to come to the festival to meet Bruce, because not only is Bruce like a master leather maker, like he makes some really nice stuff. He's a homesteader, and he teaches about biochar. And Bruce is one of those people that, like, when you meet somebody and you're like, okay, who do you know that I should know? You should know Bruce. Like, no joke. He's so incredibly smart. You will totally enjoy his session. Darren Strong is going to be doing our hog processing with Billy Bond from Permapasture Farm. So Billy and Darren are going to come in and do the hog processing demonstration. They're going to teach you from all the way from skinning all the way to piecing it out, how to do that. And you'll want to see that, because both of those guys are fantastic at doing that. Enos is who we've got on here tonight. Here's his picture. And he's going to be coming and talking about trapping, just like he's been talking to us about it tonight. And then we've got Andy, and I don't know Andy's last name, but Andy is from
Andy doesn't have a last name. It's just Andy.
Oh, okay. So Andy's Little Homestead. He has a Facebook page that has actually, like, what is it, like 700,000 followers on Facebook or something like that? It's some crazy number.
And all of them are coming.
And all of them are coming. So his YouTube or his Facebook page, oh my God, his videos are so funny. He's very entertaining, but he's very practical. And Andy's going to be talking about how to homestead on a budget, you know, not to just go completely in debt doing this. So it's going to be a really good session. Jeff Smith is the everyday prepper. Jeff is going to be coming and teaching about the first 30 days. Like, if you have a situation, if there's a collapse or something like that, what's going to be happening in those first 30 days. And then he's also going to do another session about old tools, like, you know, like not power stuff that you can use on the homestead and that kind of thing. And then I totally got that backwards, didn't I? Bill Stormfeather is going to be doing the first 30 days class. Jeff Smith is going to be teaching on how to get home. So if there's an SHTF situation, how to get back home, you know, if you're away from the home or whatever. So I got those backwards. Bill Stormfeather is actually a military guy, and he has been in several different countries where they've had economic collapses and, you know, been in that situation. And he's going to share with us all of the things that he knows about that. And hopefully we'll learn how to deal with that situation if that ever happens. The most important thing that I want to share with you on this page is this link right here. So the VIP charity dinner. Let me click on this link. So you're going to look for this icon right here, the V4CR. Okay. Click on this link right here. Vets for Child Rescue. That's who this is. We are having a VIP. Well, I mean, I call it a charity banquet, but other people have been calling it a VIP dinner. This is going to support Vets for Child Rescue. So if you're curious as to what Vets for Child Rescue is, take a look at this video on YouTube. It's free to watch. It's called Contra Land, CONTRALAND. The mission of Vets for Child Rescue is to eliminate sex trafficking in this country. They do operations all over the country. They work with law enforcement in different areas, and they basically go in and bust up sex trafficking rings and, you know, get that. Like I said, they've got law enforcement there, so they get these people, you know, put away in jail and all that kind of thing. And then they also work with area ministries or organizations that help those people, those kids, whoever that are trapped in these situations. They help them get their life back. So the average cost for an operation is $10,000, and we want to. That's our goal. Our goal is $10,000 to pay for an operation. When I say operation, I've got this thing in my head. It's medical. It's not medical. It's an op, or whatever you want to call it, military terms. But for them to come or wherever they're going to go and shut down sex trafficking. I mean, it's our responsibility to protect the most vulnerable in our communities, right? So our goal is $10,000. You can purchase a ticket to come to this. It's a dinner. All of our speakers, or most of our speakers, are going to be in attendance. So you'll be able to sit down and have dinner and talk about permaculture with Billy Bond, or talk about living a life, getting out of the corporate world and living a free life with Tag from Life Done Free. Or you'll be able to talk about building a homestead with Aaron T. Scott. You'll be able to talk about trapping with Enos. Whoever you want to talk to, they're going to be there, and the whole big crowd's not going to be there because we've limited the seating of this, or the ticket purchase of this, to 50 tickets. Each ticket is $250, and a majority of that, I'm going to say 4/5 of that, is going to go toward Vets for Child Rescue. And like I said, our goal is $10,000. You can click right here and purchase that ticket, or you can click right here and make a donation if you know you're not going to be able to come, but you still want to give whatever amount, $5, $2, $10, $1,000, whatever you want to give. You can donate right there. Every bit of the money that goes on to this donate here button will go toward Vets for Child Rescue. So we would love it if you would help us support this organization. It is truly, go watch the movie, guys. I mean, seriously, it's a big eye opener. It really is.
If you watch that documentary and you don't want to help this cause, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah,
honestly.
Definitely. So
also the ticket sales, Billy had mentioned it on his Pimpcast. The first 10 people that buy tickets for this will get a 10-minute spot on his Pimpcast that he does to talk about whatever they want to. And honestly, right now, we've looked at the ticket sales. There are still 8 spots available for people to get on there. So if you buy your ticket now and you're one of the first 10 people, you will get a 10-minute spot on Billy's Pimpcast to talk to him about whatever you want to talk about.
You can even promote your own business. Like if you have a business and you want, you want to use that airtime to promote your business or to promote a friend's business, or like Jason said, you want to get on there and ask him about anything, that's going to be your time. And he's doing it because he's just as passionate about helping this organization as we are. So again, our website is KentuckySustainableLiving.com. This is where you can come and get all of the updates. But I will ask you this. If you are going to come, and again, the festival is free. I know that we've got some paid classes, the 2 medical classes and the guild class. You have to pay for those. And then the charity dinner, you have to pay to attend that. But the festival is free. All of the speakers that you're going to get to hear, you're going to get to see a hog processing, a chicken processing. If you're planning on coming, click on this link right here and let us know that you're coming. And all this is you're going to sign up for our newsletter. And I promise you, you're not going to be spammed with crazy stuff. I'm going to send out a newsletter monthly, just giving people an update on who our speakers are and all that kind of stuff. So all you need to do is put your email address in here and say, let's keep in touch. Click that button. And that kind of gives us an idea of how many people we need to plan for. And that way we can get Western to do some food for us. They'll know whether or not that it's cost effective for them to provide food. So yeah, you got anything to add, guys?
Not right off the bat. I was trying to think.
If you want to be a vendor, You can click right here and do vendor information. There's a form to fill out. It'll email me, and then I'll send you an invoice for it. Costs $50 to set up a vendor booth. And we're looking for vendors. It's not so much like we're looking for homestead type vendors, things that you make on your homestead that or prepping type stuff. That's kind of what we're looking for as far as vendors. Also, if you would like to be a sponsor, if you would like to, again, this festival is free because we want people to come and learn skills that will help them to be more self-sufficient. So if you want to help further that, we would greatly appreciate your sponsorship, because this festival, even though it's free to the public, it's not free to put on. So we do have the cost of the Ag Center and a few other expenses. So if you want to donate any money toward the cost of the festival, we would greatly appreciate you. And we'll put your name on the back of a t-shirt.
And we will have t-shirts. We're coming up with the design right now, but we will have t-shirts, and the t-shirts are going to be a pre-sale that we can either have shipped to you before the festival, or you can pick them up at the festival. Right now, we're getting the design ready, and as soon as we get those done, it'll just be a pre-order, and we'll have a link to the t-shirt store where you can order those on the website. Jake, you got anything else?
No, I think just share this, help get the word out. A lot of people are putting a lot of work into this. There's going to be a lot of people there. Going to be a great opportunity to learn. I mean, share it with your family and friends, and just help get the word out.
That's awesome, Miss Sharon. Tell your grandson to come see us.
Yeah.
And tell him to come up to us and say, "I'm Miss Sharon's grandson."
Yeah. Enos, can you make us a Bobcat hat to sell at the charity dinner?
I might be able to do that.
Well, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll try to do that. I'll try to bring something like that.
And then whoever gets the Bobcat hat at the charity dinner has to wear it on Sunday all day.
There you go. It might. No, it'll be October. It shouldn't be too hot, but you never.
Yeah, it'd probably be cool.
Oh yeah. If you bring me one, I'll wear it, by God.
Well, I got one in there. I might just bring it.
Oh, shoot. I'll wear that thing all weekend then.
I got one already made. I think I wore it in a couple videos, too. And that's one that I tanned myself. But if I get my first back from the tannery from this last season, I seriously might bring a couple.
That would be awesome to do that.
That would be.
So,
but I just wanted to say I'm real excited to come to this, and I think it's really awesome the work y'all put into it and to make this happen. And I'm excited to be there to learn a lot of other stuff, to hear what everybody else has to say more than, I'm excited to go down there and teach the class too, but I'm just excited to go down there and learn.
Exactly. All right, guys. We appreciate everybody being here tonight. Guys, share, subscribe, like, do all that. Share it out to all your friends. It's not just a Kentucky festival. It's everybody that wants to come. I mean, if you're not too far away, we've got people coming in as far as California and Kansas coming in. So guys, don't think
we've got speakers coming from the East Coast and the West Coast.
Yeah.
Do you realize that? That's pretty awesome.
So don't think that you're too far away. It's a great place. I guarantee you will probably meet somebody that's close to you, no matter how far away you come from. So, but guys, if y'all have not got anything else, we'll close it out for the night. And I appreciate everybody being here. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all for having me.